Okay. We straight. We back. What it do? What it do? What it do? Welcome to another episode of Promo Podcast. I am your host, Antoine Jones. Uh, back for another fun episode of Raw. Uh, Happy Cinco de Mayo to everyone out there. Happy Sith Day to my Star Wars fans. I thought tonight was an interesting Raw. I don't think it was obviously like the best ever, but it had a lot of. Let me take these off. It had a lot of uh, points that I really thought was intriguing. Obviously they're building more stores. They're trying to push some storylines a little further. I thought they had great intentions, and they had some great matches. They had some great matches tonight. Again, it wasn't the best Raw. Uh, Obviously, it definitely wasn't the best of the year, but I thought they had some really, really great matches, and they pushed some things forward. First, I want to start off by saying, if you like what you see, love what you hear, please hit that like button. Please subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Let's get that, get some buzz going. Push the promo podcast as far as we can. I'm gonna keep rocking. I keep doing my thing. I just ask if you're interested and you love it. Please show some love back to me. Um, the show opened up, I believe, with Jay coming out. And as always, Jay get the party lit, man. When he get out there, he get the party lit. So he come out there, they play the music, they eat, and it's going crazy. And then, as always, the fans want to run it back. So they run it back, play it again. They go out there going off, and he starts off talking about Logan Paul and, how he sick of him, and, he ready to show up, show out. He's calling him out. And Paul shows up, but it's not Logan Paul, it's Paul Heyman. And Paul come out there, and Paul starts going like he on another one. He mad. Like he started talking about Roman, and how people say he did Roman dirty, and just basically telling the same spiel that he has for a while, but just with so much more aggression. Saying how he didn't do him dirty, how he didn't do CM Punk dirty. They did him dirty. Um, and that prompted Jay to ask him, are you okay? What does any of that got to do with me? He previously stated that, you got some balls showing up in here after what you did to my family. So Paul finally got down to business and explained to him that he was out there because Seth Rollins has declared that he wants a match against him for the title. And he said he's going to allow Jay to pick when and where. And we all know that's the ploy. That's the setup. So, Jay, who's not shy of backing down from a fight, lets him know, like, hey, we could do this tonight. And he obviously said it with a lot more theatrics. But he goes off and says we could do it tonight. Let's make it happen. And you see later Paul go back there and, basically tell Seth and Brian, he goes, he fell for it. He fell for the bait. So we good now. You get that title match and go take the title from him. So in back in my head, I'm like, this should be a really good one. But at the same time, I'm a little weird because, I'm a pro Jey Uso fan. Um, I love what he does in the ring. I love his mic skills. He's an incredible entertainer, and he has the crowd behind him. I was really prevalent tonight, but I don't want his reign to be, just simmered to what 3 weeks. That's corny, man. Kind of give him some credit. So with the story they're telling with Seth and with Braun and this faction that they got going on, I was like, geez, don't give him the belt yet. Like let's let this cook a little longer. But they set it up and they're preparing for that later down the line. Afterwards, we had, I believe, Sheamus and Theory had a match, and it was interesting because Grayson Waller was supposed to originally fight him. He finds out who it is, and he kind of, like, hey, maybe Austin Theory should fight him instead. That's what he tells, Raw GM, and I always forget my man's name, but he basically is like, that's what you want, sure. And Austin Theory just, yeah, he don't know who it is. He just with it. So they go out there, and it's Sheamus. And Sheamus come out there, going off. aggressive. Also put up a good match. I thought it was a fun match, interesting. But you just can see the look on Austin Theory's face. He's just disgusted with Grayson. Like, man, why you do this to me? Like, you don't set me up to get packed out in this piece. So Sheamus finishes that match and knocks them off, and I think that's just them telling the Grayson Waller and Austin Theory story a little further. I mean, let's all be real here. They should have been broke up. This should have been over like 5 months ago. They should have ended this. The fact that they still together is beyond me. And oftentimes you get to a point where you drag storylines on so long that the people don't care no more. Don't care anymore. I think there was a point where the Grayson Waller and Austin Theory duo, that faction had like some good buzz, some good traction where people were invested in them for a good amount of time. And then you could kind of see the wheels turning on the split. And I felt like W just kind of held on to that too long. So now, whatever happens beyond here, you see it happening, but it's just like, whatever. And that's how I feel about that. I mean, it's cool that they're still throwing those breadcrumbs. We are being real. Also, there should have left my man's like 6 months back. So, you know, but it was a fun match. It was a fun match, and that just kind of telling that story, continuously telling that story, uh, till I guess they get to the finish line or whenever that's going to be. They had a Karrion Cross promo again. I love what they're doing with Karrion Cross. I take that back. I don't love what they're doing with Karrion Cross, but I love Karrion Cross promos. If they're going to give him a promo, he's going to kill a promo. Referring to his fans, the bad guys, and going out there and just saying, he's the devil you know versus the devil you don't. Um, he knows he knows how to cut a promo and really get you invested in whatever it is he's doing. Again, I don't love what WWE is doing with him because I would personally like him to get some singles matches going, get a storyline built with wrestlers that you could really like lock in with, and invest some more time with Kerry. And I love the promos that they're having him cut and giving him some screen time. I mean, can we really even call it screen time? I mean, they cut the promo during the commercial break, so you know. But nonetheless, I digress. I think that Karrion Cross is doing some great work, and hopefully we get a payoff down the line for this. Hopefully we do. After that, I might be getting my matches mixed up. I remember Lara and Becky going out there and having a face off and talking, and Lara basically uh, letting Becky know like, hey, they have their kind of women's title match at Backlash, and just telling her that she's not a product of Becky Lynch. She's not where she's at now because of Becky. She got there on her own merits, and she starts going off on accolades. And Becky reminded her that Sports Illustrated declared her the greatest women's wrestler ever. And Laura is just letting her know, she's jotting down all the firsts and all the things that she's accomplished. And she stated to Becky, that Becky was like the first women's intercontinental title champion ever. And she's like, oh, wait, no, that's me. That's not you. They got a little heated. They got into a scuffle, and I'm I'm invested in this for multiple reasons. I'm not the biggest Becky Lynch fan. I want to state that early. I like Becky Lynch, but I don't love her. I'm not like a Uber fan, like especially at her height of fandom. I wasn't one of those. I was super riding, but I do get invested in her stories. What I like about it is they're really giving the Intercontinental Women's title some traction now. They're giving Lara something she can sink her teeth into. Rivalry with Becca Lynch, I think, will go a ways for her career and for the division. I think that's the pivotal part for her. But what I love about it the most, looking down the line, I see this turning into Becky versus Bailey, and I would love to see that. We're talking about two or the previous, four horsewomen. I think that would make for an incredible match. And with Becky already admitting that she's the reason that Bayley got knocked out and took her out uh, and took her spot for WrestleMania, that breadcrumbs for down the line way, not even way down the line, like, but down the line, that I think that's next. So those are the reasons that I love what's happening now between these two. You've already asserted Becky as the heel, even if people love her. You give Lara this incredible rivalry. You give this Intercontinental Women's Division some run with a good match, with a good rivalry, backlash, PLE event match, and go from there. I think it's good for all parties. Good for all parties. Good for all parties. Uh, you also had Penta and JD fight, and this was brewing since JD got back, interfering, and I guess you could say costing Penta the Intercontinental match against Dirty Dom. What was it, last week or a week before that? But then Penta came back and got his on JD after that when they were fighting in the tag match last week. So this match was inevitable. It was happening, and JD looked good in the ring. I mean, he's already had one, but he seems like he's comfortable again. He seems like he's back. He's feeling it, doing his thing. But at one point, this match felt like 4-on-1. You had Carlito come out. Finn was out there. Um, who you call it came out there as well. Someone else came out there, but it felt like every time you turned around, it was another interference, another one, and Penta just fighting them all off. Finn, I thought, was had the funniest point in the match where Penta was outside, or he was about to get on the ropes, and Finn kind of tripped him up to the ground, and he went to go rolling back in the ring, and the camera angle is panning to show like the crowd and show Finn and Penta on the outside of the ring, and they pan back over when Finn threw Penta in the ring, and the ref is looking dead at him like, I see everything, buddy. Like, I know what's happening here. You, Carlito, y'all can get up out. Skadoosh, get up out of here. So like, I like that part of it. The match, that was pretty dope to me. I'm still intrigued to see what's going to happen with Judgment Day. Not because I'm invested. I just think that they should have been done by now. Like, Judgment Day they have lived beyond their expiration date. They should have been done. I think what happens is they find new ground. They find new ground to step into with whatever it is that they got going on. The Terror Twins were a part of them, and then when they started to simmer down, they had like the Money in the Bank with Priest, and then Rhea and him became champs. Rhea gets hurt, and then the Liv saga started to happen, and it started to simmer down again. So every single time it feels like they're at a point where it's like, all right, this should be over now. They find a new wrinkle to keep it going. And this time the wrinkle was Dom being the Intercontinental champ. Because now he's kind of like, I am the champ. I am running the show. Kind of follow my lead. And the him and Finn dynamic they've been wrestling with that for a while. I anticipate that it's going to boil over. It should have been boiled over. Another one of those things that should have been happened. They'll time it whenever they feel like they should. But these are all reasons I think that WWE is finding any excuse to keep Judgment Day intact. And hopefully the payoff to finally get rid of them will be maybe the Finn and Dom. Something happens with that. It also was announced that Dom and Penta fight at Backlash this weekend for the Intercontinental title. I don't see Dom losing it. I love Penta, but I anticipate that for the storyline, Dom will have that belt for a little while too. He'll have it for a little while, but they should put on a great match. They should. We also had the women's match, Io and Roxanne Perez. Now they had just fought at NXT, I believe, and that was a really, really good match. This match, if had Roxanne won, would have allowed her to get a women's championship title match later down the line. So it's kind of like beat her and you qualify for a match for the title later. This is a non-title match, but when you become a contender. They put on a good match. I think they have great chemistry together. Roxanne and Io. Io has, I take that back. Io has great chemistry with everybody. At this point, it's like put her in a ring with another woman and she'll rock the house. Like Io is just incredible, just incredible. Big fan. So they had a great match. They have this crazy finish where like they're just like flipping pins on each other. Roxanne goes for the pin, kind of gets flipped around. Io is now pinning her, and they do this for like a course of like it felt like 12 different pins. Finally, Io gets the pin roll up on her and wins. Roxanne goes to shake her hand, look like she's great sportsmanship, gets out the ring, and then Julia rolls in there, bow, blindsides Io, and then they start going up in there and packing her up. They start packing her up, and I'm pretty sure they're building something between Julia and I think Julia and Io Sky, and that would be a great match if them two go at it. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. Both of them are incredible. So that match again, I think is just seeds getting planted for something bigger down the line. But I love watching matches with Io Sky in it because she knows how to rock the house. And that was a really great match. That was one of the high points of the night for me was watching Io and Roxanne fight. That was a really good match. You also had Rusev and Otis fight, and they had promoted this obviously, and the American Alpha. They're the walking points for when you get in the building. When you get in the building, you pack them up. That's kind of what that's how they promote Alpha, American Alpha. Like you just got here. All right, look, you go pack up American Alpha, and then we get the ball rolling with you. That's how you start. So Russo came out there, and beat them boys down. So now he got a match with Otis, and it was as expected. He packed them up. And Cesaro came out there, took his shirt off at the end of the match, and was like, "What's up, man?" And Russo like, "Nah, I ain't messing with you." He walked off. Cesaro turned around to go check on his boy, and then Russo go in there and powerbomb poor Cesaro. They crash dummies. Just get in here and get them packed up, and then we gonna keep it moving. So now Rusev, I'm pretty sure, go do something else. But it was cool. You want to see Rusev in the ring. I like seeing Rusev in the ring. I would love to see Rusev versus Gunther. That would be a match. Hopefully, we get that somewhere down the line. That'd be pretty dope. Speaking of Gunther, he came out there with Pat, and they had their face off in front of everybody, discussing their match, Backlash. And Gunther played it, calm at first, saying, I'm deciding not to attack you, to save the fun for Backlash. Basically telling them, like, I'm sparing you tonight, Jerk. You ain't got to worry about it. I'm just letting you know I'm here to, intimidate you. But even if you're not intimidated, just know you about to get broke off. I'm sparing you tonight. And I thought Pat cut a heck of a promo, especially in his response, his rebuttal. Basically talking about the city of Omaha that we're in, and all the accolades, and how much of a country or a city, not a country, I'm sorry, how much of a city, great city it is, especially for winners. And he was saying that it was fitting that they were there because the Gunther that's in front of him, in his opinion, is soft, and he's going to prove it to the world at Backlash. And Gunther went off and basically told him that he's just is adding more fuel to the fire. Basically, you're giving me more reason to pack you up on a greater level. And I'd imagine it's gonna look something like that at Backlash. I think Gunther is about to pack this man Pat McAfee up something biblical. It's gonna be ugly, man. I do think Pat will put on a great match. He'll have some moments, have some spots. He's really gonna do something that get the crowd into it. But once Gunther gets in his bag, it's gonna be over. He's gonna pack him up. He's gonna send him home. We're gonna wrap this up quick, ain't we? Out the door. Then we get to the main event. Seth and Jay, obviously Braun and Paul Heyman ringside. And boy, was this probably for me was Jey Uso's best singles match. I think the one he had with Roman was really good, but this one right here, it felt more technical, I guess you could say. And Jay's not really a technical wrestler, but it felt more like he felt like he was in his bag He was doing a lot. They were telling a great story, I thought, in the ring. One of those Seth Rollins, real strategic, put it all out there, no quit matches, and that's what it felt like. Seth had him at one time. Uh, hit him with a couple of sets where I think he hit him with the superplex, Falcon Arrow. Uh, I think that's when it led to the curve stomp, and that combination you thought was over, and Jay jumps out of it, and then uh, it looked like they about to do some diabolical, right? And Sami Zayn come out there and get Braun out the way. So Jay hits Sammy. I mean, not hit Sammy. He hits Seth. He hit him with his super kick. He hit him with the spear, and then he go up there and drop him with the splash. Bow. You think it's 1, 2, 3? Nope. Seth jumps out, and you're like, oh, okay. So this is gonna be one of the matches. They going at it, and I felt that he had a chance to win it, but then Braun spears Jay when he's outside trying to help Sammy, and when he get back in the ring, it's over. Seth hit him with the combination again, and this time Jay's down for good. And as soon as Seth get ready to go pin him, CM Punk music cut on, and CM Punk come out there and just fuck shit up. He ends it, right? Chair shots galore is over. Match done. I didn't hear the bell ring, but I know the match is over. It was over. But I thought the match itself was incredible. Now, they're going to tell the story, obviously, with CM Punk, and I think Roman down the line probably with this faction of Seth and Braun, and they're going to be at it for a while. So don't anticipate this to go away anytime soon. It's not. But I thought the match itself between Jay and Seth was insanely good. And again, it's Seth Rollins. He put these clinics on the regular, but Jay just had an outstanding performance for me personally, and I love to see it. I love to see it because again, the Jay rhetoric online is very. I feel like they want to bury this man. They don't even want to see him have the belt, and I want him to have it. Have at least a reign that that feels worthy and regal, feels like a necessary hold, a necessary reign, something that has some glue, some stick behind it where people can go back and be like, yeah, Jay had a run, he had a good little run, ain't even got to be long. Again, if he holds the title for 3 months, I'm good. Like, I love Jey Uso, so let him cook, man. Let him put on a couple of these clinics like this, put him in the ring with the big dogs and let him perform, and he'll show you what he can do. So I thought it was a great match. Where Jay goes from here, I don't know. I'm assuming that we'll get the him and Logan Paul match eventually. He'll pack Logan Paul up, and then he'll go forward on. And I'm pretty sure we'll circle the block and get back to this Seth and Jey Uso again. I'm certain that they'll run that table again. But that was Raw tonight. A lot of fun, highs and lows, like I said. But I wanted to pivot to something else real quick. For those of you who follow me, those of you who don't, I want to announce that I've released a soundtrack to a novel that I wrote 2 years ago called Fortuitous Fate. An idea that I had for so long, and it took me a minute to finally put it together and get it out, but I did, and it's on streaming right now on all platforms, I believe. Wherever you listen to your music, get your music from, it's on there. It's called Jerry's Soundtrack, NJERI soundtrack. I believe it's on Apple now. I said all platforms earlier, but I know Apple Music there was a delay, but it's available now on there as well. But again, I wrote a book 2.5 years ago. I wanted to give it a soundtrack, 9 cuts, just to give you a deeper look inside the main protagonist, the character, Jerry Solar. And for all of you who've actually listened to it, who streamed it, who's played it, responded to me, thank you. I appreciate you for the love and the support. Um, as a creator, I'm constantly putting something together. Obviously, I have the podcast now. I've written novels. I've done soundtracks to it now as well. I paint. I'm always doing something. I'm trying to always keep busy and leave something on this planet is the goal. Leave, make leave the world a better place, you know, than it was before you got here. And leaving works of art, timeless pieces, just anything that people can get their hands on or visually see or listen to. Those stories that I love to tell. Those are the things that I want to, partially be remembered by. So, if again, if you have streamed and listened to the music, I thank you very much. If you had gotten a copy of Fortuitous Fate, I thank you very much. And if you haven't, please do go give it a spin, listen to it, tell me what you think. I'm open book. I'm free for all criticisms, uh, all praise, or whatever it is that you uh, choose to do on any of the platforms that I'm on. And if you don't have a copy of the novel Fortuitous Fate, hopefully the soundtrack, uh, it get you a little antsy, excited to see what it's about, and go on Amazon and purchase you a copy. But again, I thank you all for listening. Thank you all for tuning in. This was a fun Monday night. And now we move on to the rest of the week. I pray that you all have a beautiful one, a blessed one. And until see you again, be easy. Love you. And we out. That's it.